Dear viewers, welcome back to Lokmat Times. Hope you all had a bright Diwali. But while Maharashtra was bursting crackers, someone in Pune lit a very different fuse. As the diyas glowed, an explosive story broke, where religion, politics, and prime real estate collided in broad daylight. We are talking about 3.5 acres of prime land in Model Colony, the VIP section of heaven. Once donated for God and charity, now allegedly transformed into a gold mine for a few chosen ones. Forget diamonds, forget gold. In India, the real treasure is land. And this particular land could make kings out of commoners. This is the story of a 65-year-old temple, a Jain student hostel, a powerful union minister, a notorious builder, and a price tag that makes Ambani look humble. Hello, I'm Tejas and you're watching Honest Take. Today we decode how a sacred trust meant for faith and learning was allegedly turned into a luxury project right under the charity commissioner's nose and with the help from friends in very high places. We call it the Great Pune Land Robbery. But before we start, you know the drill. Subscribe to Lokmat Times if you haven't already and press the bell icon to never miss an update. The victim in our story is the Seth Hirachand Nemchand Smarak Trust. Sounds noble, right? Trusts are sacred. They hold property not for profit but for the soul. Their mission since 1958 was crystal clear. Accommodation for underprivileged Jain students. Charity, education, simple, pure. The property itself, 3.5 acres of premium real estate, complete with a historic boarding house and a 65-year-old temple where people have been praying for generations. A sanctuary. Now imagine this sanctuary goes up for a sale. For how much? Well, in Model Colony, the going rate suggested the value of this massive ultra-premium development land was comfortably over 1,000 crore rupees. Yes, 1,000 crore. A figure so large it takes a deep breath to just say it out loud. So how much did the good, honest, upright trustees allegedly sell this 1,000 crore gold mine for? 311 crore rupees. Ladies and gentlemen, you just witnessed the most spectacular real estate discount in the history of Maharashtra. Forget Black Friday, this was the charity clearance sale, a whopping 70% markdown. You would think they were selling rotten vegetables, not a 1,000 crore piece of land. When you do the math, and trust me, the alleged perpetrators in this deal did the math very carefully, it works out to about 20,000 rupees per square foot. In a market where comparable prime property should fetch maybe 3 to 4 times that. It's like selling the Mona Lisa for the price of a postcard and then claiming you did it for the children. The trustees of this noble charitable trust, whose sworn duty was to protect this land for charity, somehow looked at this 1,000 crore asset and saw 311 crore. You have to admire the sheer unblushing confidence of the move. It's a level of audacious financial creativity that should win an award. Maybe the Golden Gatekeeper Award for shutting the gate on charity and opening the door for personal enrichment. But wait, it gets better. This wasn't just a simple sale. This was a complex, beautiful tapestry of alleged corruption woven with gold thread and secured red tape that was suspiciously easy to cut. The question isn't why they sold it so cheap. The question is, where did the other 700 crore go? And whose pockets were lined with this difference? This undervaluation is the screaming headline. It is the big flashing neon sign that reads, something is deeply, fundamentally and criminally wrong here. The motive for the heist wasn't hard to find. It was literally written on the sale deed in the form of 700 crore question mark. Every great heist needs a getaway car and every questionable land deal needs questionable cash. Our builder, Vishal Gokhale's Gokhale Landmarks LLP, needed funds to pull off this magical transaction. And where do you go when you need mountain of money for a dubious deal and don't want the hassle of traditional, boring, oversight heavy banking? You go to the cooperative credit societies. This is where the story shifts from greedy trustees to systematic manipulation. The allegations here are astonishing. We are talking about 70 crore rupees allegedly flowing from two multi-state cooperative credit societies, one from Buldhana all the way in the Vidarbha region and another from Karnataka. Think about that. Two obscure cooperative societies whose primary job is to usually help farmers or local workers suddenly decide to pour 70 crores into a mega development deal in Pune's most expensive locality. And they did it allegedly without adequate scrutiny. But here is the kicker, the truly cinematic twist. According to allegations made by activists and politicians, these societies later relinquished their mortgage rights. Why would a bank or a credit society lend 70 crore, then look at a 1,000 crore property they had collateral on and just walk away? It's not a bank, it's a charity organization for builders. They gave the money and then said, keep the collateral darling, it's on the house. This transaction defies every known law of the finance, probability and common sense. It only makes sense if the entire operation was a well-oiled, highly coordinated machine. And the coordination, NCP Sharad Pawar leader Jayant Patil alleged that government approvals for the deal and the sanction of this 70 crore cooperative bank loan were done on the very same day. that, my friends, is not a coincidence. It's a one-day express delivery government to cooperative to builder pipeline, bypassing years of due diligence and all the tedious rules designed to stop exactly this kind of nonsense. But the corruption didn't stop at the ledger books, it extended to matters of faith. The core of the protest was the allegations that the trustees, in their hassle to liquidate this charitable asset, did a truly miraculous thing. They made the 65-year-old Sri Bhagwan Mahavir Digambar Jain temple disappear. When seeking approval from the charity commissioner to sell the land, the trust allegedly concealed the existence of the temple. Imagine the scene. A 65-year-old established temple, a structure of faith and devotion, suddenly becomes a ghost. It vanishes from the blueprints. The trustees, whose job is to protect all assets of the trust, pretended one of the most sacred parts of the property simply wasn't there. It's the ultimate act of disrespect, an insult to the entire community, and a potential fraud against the very office they were appealing to. They thought they could sell the foundation right out from under the deity. That is the mentality we are dealing with here. Everything is for sale, even God's house, as long as the papers are cleverly managed. Thankfully, the charity commissioner, facing massive community pressure, eventually put the brakes on. They issued a status quo order, meaning nobody moves, nobody builds, nobody sells, and they ordered an inspection. They had to send an official to literally go and see if a 65-year-old temple, which had thousands of worshippers, actually existed on the site. Think about the absurdity. The system is so broken, so blinded by alleged influence, that it needs an inspector to confirm a massive place of worship is not in fact a figment of the community's imagination. Now we arrive at the political heart of the storm, because in deal this rotten, this complex and this expensive, you need political muscle. And the finger of accusation points squarely at Union Minister Muralidhar Mohoy, the BJP MP from Pune. Mohoy is a powerful man. He is the Union Minister of State for Civil Aviation and Cooperation. Remember that word, cooperation. We'll come back to it. The allegation against Mohoy stem from his documented, admitted business ties with Vishal Gokhale, the builder who bought the land. Mohoy was a 50% designated partner in Gokhale Estates LLP, a company that shares the same address and contact details as the buyer, Gokhale Landmarks LLP. And it's a brilliant defense in a strictly technical corporate law sense. He said, and I quote, "I resigned from both Gokhale Estate LLP and Gokhale Future LLP on November 25, 2024, 11 months before the sale deed was executed on October 8, 2025. Bravo, give the man a certificate for resignation timing excellence. He perfectly impeccably cut the cord just before the land deal went down. It's the 11-month challenge of Indian politics. He wants us to believe that 11 months is a lifetime. That in that year, all memory of their partnerships, all favors, all political connections, all the shared insights into Pune's land market simply evaporated like morning dew. He resigned technically, legally, on paper, but did he really? Activists point out that it is a matter of public record that Mohoy was publicly promoting the Gokhale projects and publicly acknowledged his close friendship with the partners. You don't just stop being close friends and political patrons with a major builder the moment you sign a piece of paper. But the ultimate, most scandalous allegations revolve around his new job. Remember that Ministry of Cooperation? Mohoy is the Union Minister of State of Cooperation. That ministry, by its very nature, has administrative oversight over multi-state cooperative societies. Do you see the full picture yet? The deal was fueled by a suspicious 70 crore loan from multi-state cooperative societies in Buldana and Karnataka. The one giving the money is overseen by the ministry of the man whose former very recent business partner was receiving the money. It's a perfect closed loop of alleged influence. It's like the bank robber is also the guy who manages the security cameras. You don't have to be directly involved in the sale deed to influence the cash flow. You just have to be in a position of authority over the institutions that decide whether to say yes to a 70 crore loan, whether to scrutinize it, and whether to walk away from the mortgage. His defense of the 11-month gap collapses instantly under the weight of his ministerial portfolio. He did not just exit a partnership, he stepped into a seat of power that perfectly placed him to potentially grease the wheels of the very financing required to his ex-partner's mega deal. This entire episode is a masterclass in the alleged builder-politician nexus. It's not just about what is legal on paper, it's about what is morally, ethically and politically acceptable. And this, allegedly, is none of the above. When a 1,000 crore piece of land is involved, the politicians inevitably descend, not to fix the problem, but to grab the spotlight. And this scandal gifted us the political spectacle of the year. A full-blown intra-alliance street fight. On one side, the beleaguered Union Minister Mohoy of the BJP trying to explain away his ex-business partner and his current ministry's oversight. On the other, the unlikely crusader, Ravindra Dhangekar, a leader from the Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena, a party that is part of the ruling Mahayuti coalition alongside the BJP. This is where the hypocrisy gets thick enough to swim in. Dhangelkar launched a blistering no-holds-barred attack on his own coalition partner. He accused Mohol of misusing his ministerial powers to facilitate the deal, of land grabbing, and of pressuring the charity commissioner. He wrote directly to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, demanding Mohol's immediate resignation and the cancellation of the deal. This impartial investigation is only possible when Muralidhar Mohol resigns from this post because this massive irregularity occurred under the influence of his central ministerial position. Therefore, it is not appropriate for him to remain as minister even during the investigation, said Dhangelkar. That is a coalition partner telling the Prime Minister to fire his own minister over alleged corruption. It's like a family arguing over the will while the body is still warm. The Mahayuti was tearing itself apart, creating a delicious political headache for all involved, especially with civic elections around the corner. The seniors had to step in. First, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, the ultimate troubleshooter. He met with the community. He assured them, "I will not hurt your sentiments. I will pay attention to this matter." A classic calming statement from a crisis manager. He even summoned Mohor to Mumbai for a dressing down. Then came Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde. He called Dhangelkar over near his car in Alandi for a public talking to. Eknath Shinde later said, "I have spoken to Dhangelkar and told him that the issue of the giant trust land is resolved. End of the matter. After all, we are part of an alliance and should not give the opposition a chance to target us." Translation: stop fighting over the loot in public. You are making us look bad. The issue wasn't the 700 crore alleged loss to charity. The issue was the public embarrassment to the coalition. They weren't protecting the temple, they were protecting the alliance's image. But the politicians had forgotten one crucial player, the spiritual leaders. Farmer leader Raju Shetty and the senior Jain spiritual leader Acharya Shri Guptinandiji Maharaj stepped up. This is where the real power lies in India. The Acharya issued an ultimate, non-negotiable ultimatum. Cancel the deal by November 1st or he would begin an indefinite hunger strike. Anchan. An indefinite hunger strike over 1,000 crore land deal. The politicians, the builders, the commissioners, they can handle a writ petition, a political allegations, even a CBI probe, but they absolutely cannot handle a revered monk threatening to starve himself to death on camera. That is political dynamite. That is a headline that destroys careers. The Acharya's ultimatum was the spiritual equivalent of dropping a tactical nuclear weapon on the deal. And suddenly, the whole beautiful, perfectly executed plan of the great Pune land robbery came crashing down. The pressure was relentless. The Charity Commissioner's status quo order was in place. The monks' hunger strike was days away. The political war was tearing the ruling alliance apart. The 700 crore question was hanging in the air like a bad smell. And then, the dramatic and the entirely predictable final act. On October 26, 2025, builder Vishal Gokhale announced his withdrawal from the land purchase deal. He sent an email to the Trust and the Charity Commissioner's office. And what was his reason? He was withdrawing from the transaction on moral grounds. Let's just pause to appreciate the audacity of the statement. His conscience did not kick in when the temple vanished from the blueprints. His conscience did not kick in when the market value was allegedly inflated by 700 crore. His conscience did not kick in when his former business partner became the union minister overseeing the banks that financed the deal. No, his moral grounds were a monk's ultimatum and a political coalition partner who had written to the Prime Minister. Those are the real moral grounds in this case. He withdrew and he asked for his 230 crore advance back. While the builders' retreat is a massive win for the protesting community, the battle is far from over. Raju Shetty and the community leaders were crystal clear. Cancellation isn't enough. The fight continues until the sale is completely, formally, legally cancelled. The land ownership is restored to the rightful community stakeholders. The builder's name is removed from all property records, the Uttara. The truth is the entire system, the charitable trust oversight, the cooperative banking system, the municipal approvals, the political influence was allegedly twisted into a pretzel to facilitate this single spectacular transfer of public charitable wealth into private developer hands. The deal was killed not by a system working but by community protesting, a monk threatening a fast, and political rivals fighting over the scraps. So here is my honest take. The great Pune land robbery failed, but the criminals, the ones who allegedly set the price, greased the palms and used their high office for influence, are still walking around. The political fallout will continue to rock Maharashtra, reminding everyone that in the end, it's not about party lines or development or even charity. It's about the land. It is always about the land. And the biggest crime here is the audacity of claiming this entire scandalous operation was done on moral grounds. That's all for today on Honest Take with me, Tejas. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and never stop asking tough questions.